Spoiler alert, wrestling matches are planned. I know, I'll give you a few seconds to deal with the fallout of that bombshell. On we go. See, wrestlers are strong. Here's some, and if you don't plan matches, then someone's going to get accidentally punched in the face or dick or worse. But as the well-known Rabbi Burns saying goes, the best laid schemes of mice and men sometimes see accidental wrestling happening, and most of the time it's real bad, but occasionally it's lightning in a bottle amazing. Oh, great phrase, thanks Rabbi. Wrestling history is full of amazing accidental moments like Batista and Cena eliminating each other at the Royal Rumble 2005 and Vince's legs exploding, but also not that one, because if I have to talk about that moment again, I'm going to run into the sea. So here are some different ones. I'm Adam, hailing from PartsFunKnown, and here are 10 amazing wrestling moments that were complete accidents. Number 10, the Cobra Commander. Well, this is a gimmick you couldn't do today, huh? Throughout the 80s, before animal rights were a thing, Jake Roberts used to bring a wholesome snake called Damien to the ring. Damien would regularly change shape, color, and species because he was a magical snake. Wrestling. Despite Dave's November episode of Superstars that year, Roberts tied Savage up in the ropes and taunted him with the King Cobra, which proceeded to clamp down on Savage's arm and stay there. It actually ended up staying latched onto Macho for much longer than intended, and the image iconic moment in either man's career. Sad fact, the snake had been devenomed, so Savage was okay, but the snake ended up dying less than 2 weeks after the incident, leading Savage to joke afterwards that the snake had actually been poisoned by him. Number 9, The Rock thanks you for that. The Rock and Sock connection are a very recognizable dynamic, being the living embodiment of can I go out okay but take your little brother with you. The Rock was cool, Mankind was not, but Mankind worshipped The Rock and The Rock tolerated him. Their on and off again bromance created a number of great moments. The This Is Your Life segment, the double people's elbow that won them the tag championships, and of course this little unscripted gem. On a September 2nd episode of SmackDown in 1999, The Rock and Sock were cutting a promo the week after winning the tag belts. The Rock hit his catchphrase, "If you smell, you know the one I mean," but before he could finish it, his sunglasses flew off his face and landed on the mat. After a small awkward moment, Mankind, the ever delightful sub to Rock's inscrutable Dom, picked up the glasses and handed them to The Rock, with The Rock issuing a small but delightfully human "The Rock thanks you for that" before continuing on his promo. It's sadly cut from the finished SmackDown broadcast, but it's a lovely little character moment between two reasonably good buds. Number 8, Titus O'Neil kissed the ground on the lips. Titus O'Neil is a genuinely very lovely man who does genuinely very lovely things, but hot damn is it fun to make fun of him for stuff. Whether it was his fist-in-mouth cringeworthy pirate stag do gone wrong at WrestleMania, the super weird thing that happened between him and Vince, remember that? God, it was weird, to of course Titus World Slide. To be honest, it's just nice to hear Michael Cole laugh genuinely for once. You forget he's a real person sometimes. So it's the greatest Royal Rumble. Titus runs down, his feet stay behind, and gravity gives him a 3D, pitching him straight under the ring, like the ring was Kirby and he'd just been eaten. Seriously though, there's a metal ring support in the middle of the apron. Titus missed it by inches, turning what could have been a really nasty injury into one of the stupidest but gut-achingly funny moments of the last 10 years. It's his legacy, and that's both very sad and very nice. Number 7, Hey Baby I Hear the Boos Are Calling. Seattle is famous for 3 things: rain, Frasier, and one of the greatest crowd hijacks in the history of live entertainment. The 9th of December 2013 saw Raw come to Washington, home state of Daniel Bryan, who just so happened to be the hottest thing in wrestling at the time. Despite WWE trying to sideline him from the main event and promote Cena versus Orton for the 800th time, or rather because of that, during a championship ascension ceremony ahead of TLC, the fans completely hijacked the segment, ignoring the Authority, Orton, all the former champions in the ring, and cheering full throat for Daniel Bryan. It's an astonishing segment to watch. It goes completely off the rails. Triple H has to stop talking multiple times to let the fans finish chanting. Mark Henry gets the biggest pop of his career by raising Bryan's hand, and Cena even has to crowbar a quick Daniel Bryan interview in there, because why not? Script's dead, roll with it. And through it all, Daniel Bryan's face. His happy face as his home fans did their part in a movement that would steamroll the American Dragon to the main event of WrestleMania. Number 6, Hell Through the Cell. There are few matches more synonymous with wrestling than the Hell in the Cell match between Mankind and The Undertaker at King of the Ring 98. A perfect blend of character work, game-changing stunts, iconic commentary, and real life and wrestling blurring together in heart-stoppingly compelling television. Mick Foley flying from the top of the cell through the announce table was planned. Mick Foley being chokeslammed through the cell was not. So here's what was supposed to happen. Foley was to take a purposefully weak chokeslam on top of the cell. That panel of the cell would buckle, open on one side, and Foley would roll through, taking a much softer bump to the ring below. That did not happen. Instead, all the cable ties broke, the section of the roof flew open, and Foley took a full force drop to the canvas, briefly knocking him out. Much worse for Mick than it should have been? Absolutely. Much more memorable and cool looking than the original planned spot? Almost definitely. Number 5, HBKO. We can't bloody shut up about Chris Jericho and Shawn Michaels' 2008 feud. It's one of the best paced, carefully plotted, and satisfyingly executed stories in WWE history, featuring a whole raft of memorable moments. Jericho smashing Michaels through the Jeritron, the last proper blade job of the Ruthless Aggression era at the Bash, the tug of war of the World Heavyweight title at the top of a ladder, and of course, Shawn Michaels' fake retirement at SummerSlam, only to immediately return for wife-based vengeance. See, Michaels was saying a tearful, cross-eyed goodbye accompanied by his wife Rebecca when it was interrupted by still the best ever version of Chris Jericho. One thing led to another and Y2J swung at HBK but hit Rebecca instead. It was supposed to be a work punch because, yeah, of course it would, but Jericho accidentally hit her flush in the mouth. And look, you don't wish for accidents like these, but man, WWE know how to use them when they get them. The shot of Rebecca's lip, hugely swollen, a trace of blood on her lip, elevated it from an angle that could have felt super corny and poorly acted into something real and awful and wonderful. Backstage after the incident, Chris was understandably bricking it until Rebecca said to him in front of everyone, "That the best you got, Jericho." A class act. Number 4, he caught the kendo. Nothing like a good catch to make a crowd go, "Way!" I'm reliably informed that cricket and baseball depend on such things to stop them from being the world's most boring games. Wrestling's had a fair share of way catches. Lance Storm catching the streamer at WrestleCon. Way. Aiden English catching a rose thrown by a fan in NXT. Way. Bobby Heenan catching Mr. Perfect's towel at the 1991 Royal Rumble. Way. And best of all, during a random match between the Wyatt family and the Dudley Boys on a December 14th episode of Raw in 2015, coincidentally, the best Raw of the year that saw Reigns beat Sheamus for the WWE title in the main event, the late great Luke Harper threw down a kendo stick to the mat, which bounced up to the outside. Bubba Ray caught it in midair and immediately went on to use it in a hot fire kendo attack. It's wonderful. All these catches, just a bunch of glorious moments you could never hope to plan, but fill life with accidental joy. Number 3, good God Almighty. Taking a break from WWE for a moment and looking at a truly wonderful bit of improvisation from New Japan Pro Wrestling's G1 special in San Francisco in 2018. For a few years, the official English announce team for New Japan's TV show on Access TV had been good old JR Jim Ross and Josh Barnett, a former MMA star and nobody to mess with. Look at him. Oh my goodness. During the show, during a match between Juice Robinson, another JR, and Jay White, a prick, White suplexed Juice into the guardrail, which knocked the announce table backwards into Jim Ross, who fell from his chair. Josh Barnett then coolly responded, "Wow, you done f***ed up now," stood up from the announce table and went after Jay White, who was soaking up nuclear heat. It was a mad, electric little memory from a match which was so effective and cool that some thought the moment was a work, though both JR and Barnett insist it was an unplanned real moment. Number 2, Till I Collapse. ECW is full of happy accidents, its loose show structure, heavy reliance on crowd work, and its rabidly loyal and loud fan base created a whole bunch of unplanned moments that would define the beloved anarchic promotion. The somebody throw me a chair debacle is a fondly remembered example, as well as moments like the Heatwave 99 incident, which saw Bubba Ray start a mini riot with his heel crowd baiting. Gosh, those angry fans. Gosh. However, perhaps most emblematic of how alive classic ECW shows used to be, how fierce a connection they had with their fans, occasionally to the show's detriment, would be the fans swarming the ring for a post-match dance party with Public Enemy at a show called Sunshine State Slaughter in 1995. So many ECW fans got into the ring and jumped up and got down that the ring supports buckled and the whole ring collapsed. A perfect example of the sheer crushing love that ECW generated in its heyday. And number 1, making the man. Chris Jericho accidentally struck Rebecca Higginbottom and made an amazing moment. Nia Jax accidentally struck Becky Lynch and made a megastar. Nothing about Becky Lynch's rise to the top of women's wrestling really went how it was supposed to. Becky was supposed to turn heel at SummerSlam 2018 but got the loudest cheers of the night. The main event of Mania 35 was supposed to be Charlotte versus Ronda, but Becky got too popular to be ignored, and originally Becky was supposed to wrestle and lose to Ronda at Survivor Series 2018, but Nia Jax punched her face open on Raw, and the match was cancelled at the last minute. It ended up being a glorious accident. Not only did it mean that the Ronda-Becky match got pushed back, allowing more hype to build, more trash talking on Twitter, but that shot of Becky, defiant, sporting a very much broken face but still standing amongst her fans, triumphant, it was more nakedly heroic and badass than any scripted WWE babyface underdog comeback spot or lol my opponent's poopy promo could ever manage. Sheer swagger, a career best visual born of one errant punch to the face. And sometimes wrestling's just like that. The best laid schemes of mice and the man gang aft agley. And those are our favorite wrestling accidents. What's yours? Let us know below. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, share it around, and subscribe to PartsFunKnown for more silly wrestling content. Jam that jam.